Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome once again to Mind Your Business. This is Tanika Steens, and I am your host. And today I have my guest, Elizabeth Adams, coming from NYC, and she is the founder of Adams Method. She's a neuro coach specializing in nutrition, fitness, and behavioral change, and she's a professional woman. And no, I'm sorry. She helps professional women lose and keep off the extra weight they don't like and gain energy and body confidence without restricting. And so we haven't had anyone join us just yet. And so we'll wait a few minutes to see if anyone joins. But if not, as always, you can catch the replay on YouTube, on Facebook, on our website, and I'm sure Elizabeth will have it posted where you can see it on her end as well. But I'm very excited to have her here today because I know that a lot, hello, thanks for joining us. I know that a lot of people have been dealing with stress and anxiety through COVID, but with stress and anxiety, it can lead to weight gain or weight loss. And so sometimes we look at weight gain as being something that is detrimental, but weight loss can be detrimental as well. So today we've got, hey Ty, how are you? Thanks for joining. We've got Elizabeth Adams here. She's from New York City. She's the founder of Adams Method, and she's a neuro coach. And she is going to be talking to us today about weight and nutrition. And so if you had a problem with gaining weight or losing too much weight, she is your go-to lady today to talk to about any issues you may have. So if you have anything that you want to ask or any comments or questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comment box. And so without any further ado, we will introduce Miss Elizabeth Adams, and go ahead, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so honored to be here with you. So I'm Elizabeth. She nailed it. New York City. I'm a neuro coach, and so I specialize in personal training, nutrition, and behavioral change. And I help professional women um, get to their ideal weight and the body that they want, but not only get there, but maintain it. So achieving that body that you want and maintaining it, as well as gaining that energy and body confidence that many many people um, desire to have, not just besides the losing the weight, but keeping it off and gaining that energy. It's going to be so important, especially as professional women who have kids, who have high demanding jobs. They want that energy, they want that body confidence to strut the sexy professional outfit and dresses and skirts. So that is what I do. And the whole reason why I do that is because for a long time, as a professional woman myself, I struggled to keep the weight off. And because I struggled for a long time, I would lose the weight. I wasn't able to maintain it, which I'll dive into why that is from a brain based perspective in a little bit here. But it really took a toll on my mental well-being. Like, I was constantly self-sabotaging myself with negative thoughts, and like, I can never be thin, I can never be strong, I can't, and it made me feel discouraged and frustrated, and it would cause me to overeat and become sad and depressed, and even more anxious than what I was already experiencing from the demands of work and family, things like that, right? We already experience stress from work and from family stuff too. So like, I wasn't helping that by adding on more personal self-sabotage, right? So that's why I do, because I know what it feels like to struggle, and I don't want other women to continue to struggle, because now that I know, like, what is it that is has had kept me stuck and trapped in that yo-yo cycle, we were able to shift that so that you can keep the weight off, maintain the weight off, and keep that energy and have the body confidence, all without restricting, which is even an extra bonus, right?
Now, I'm sure a lot of people want to know more about the restricting part of it because even within myself, I struggled my whole life with weight, up and down, up and down. And finally, I came to the conclusion of what was going on and how I was self sabotaging and what I needed to do. And it was, again, all about mindset. And so once I changed my mindset, I was able to lose the weight. Now, I'm going to just be honest. This last year has been so rough. And I was looking in the mirror one day and I go, oh my goodness, this isn't going to work. I don't want to be fat again. And it's like, not that I've ever been skinny, but in my mind, what I'm thinking. And I'm like, because I know what it's going to do to me. And so immediately I can just feel myself, getting into this thought of, oh God, if I gain this weight back and if I start thinking about it. And I'm the type of person that as long as I don't step on the scale, I'm okay. But once I step on the scale, like I go to the doctor and they weigh me and it's like, oh great, that's awesome. As long as I don't see it. But when I see it for myself, I'm like, oh, I don't want to gain that weight back. And I start freaking out. And it's like I start doing stuff that is backwards. And so I totally understand what you mean about the self-sabotaging and how you start talking yourself into things and out of things. And so, being able to maintain a healthy weight and not having to restrict, especially in the times we're in now, is a bonus, like you said. So explain to us how that works and what we can do to get on board of this right away.
Yeah, so totally, and you nailed it right in the head. It's all mental, right? It starts with our mindset, um, and so understanding that where you're at is going to be the first place to start, right? Accepting where you are at. A lot of people, a lot of women, it's me in the past as well, is whenever I would see that number on the scale, I would immediately, like you said, freak out. And I would do everything restricting, eat less, exercise like a mad woman, and every single day. And like, and that would be backwards because that would add even more stress on our not
Mhm.
only mental state, but our physical body because our bodies cannot handle that much of a change right away. So just understanding where you are and starting there and having that awareness, okay, this is where I am right now, but I need to take the necessary steps and be patient and give myself a little grace here that it's going to happen. I just have to be patient so that you can be consistent and it's sustainable for you according to your life. You're a mom, right? So
Yes.
to your life around your kids and your partner as well and your work, right? We can't just go 360 and flip the switch right away. We have to gradually work our way towards that end goal and result so that once you get there, it's easy to maintain as
Yeah.
opposed to going the extreme where that's not even sustainable in the first place. That's already setting you up to fail. And so that's where we start from the end result in mind, right? So let's say you want to drop 30, 40 pounds, for example. By the time you lose that weight, how is your life going to look like then? What are you eating? How are you socializing? What are you drinking? How are you moving your body? What are you thinking? What are you seeing in the mirror? So, considering the end result, meaning you're going to have that wiggle room of eating the pizza, having wine on the weekends, things like that, like whatever you want, no restriction. However, you are living in a healthy lifestyle. You are having that healthy lifestyle because at that point you already know what you are doing to sustain that. So, with that said, we're starting from the end, but in the beginning,
I
so
love that.
balance from the very, very beginning.
Yeah. I
Mm,
love that scenario of starting at the end to get to the beginning because that's how I look at a lot of things. And so I always when I read, I always read from the back to the front because I want to know the end result and then I want to know how you got there. And so what you just said resonates with me. And you said another thing. It's about a lifestyle. It's not something that you can just do and say, oh, I lost the weight. Great. Now I can go back to doing what I was doing. No, you have to be consistent. And with that, you have to change your mindset and you have to make it your way of life. And like, I have 5 children. I have a husband and my mom lives with me. And so when it comes, I'm the cook of the family. And so when it comes to the meals that I'm cooking, I have to be mindful of what I'm feeding my family as well as what I'm eating. And it's so funny because whenever I decide that I'm going to go on a fast or I'm going to do something, I try to talk everybody into doing it with me. But I don't do it in a way that I'm forcing them to do it. I try to make it fun, like they'll want
Yeah.
to do it. But if they don't want to do it, I still have to maintain that, okay, I've got to focus. I've got to do what I'm doing. Because as soon as I sit down and there's nothing on my plate, or if I'm eating just a salad, they're looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Why are, and so then they go, oh, I forgot. And so just making sure that we are balanced in that and not doing too much all the time or too little none of the time, but just having that balance. So talk to us about what that balance can look like.
Yeah, exactly. And that balance, a lot of it would come from setting that boundary and like you said, making sure that your family is on board or at least supporting you and accepting you for where you are and where you want to be too. And believe it or not, a lot of family members, not just with me now and me throughout my journey, but my clients tell me all the time too, is how they notice them making the changes and them setting out the boundaries that they learn to do and to have with their family, but little by little they're setting examples for the family to um, be on the same path, not necessarily to lose weight, but just to have that awareness of living in a healthy lifestyle. And it's not even about like being, like vegan and like um plant-based. Like it's totally a well-balanced thing, and you can eat all that you want as long as it fits your macros, as people say. Like making sure that you are hitting enough food according to your body and what your body needs, right? Because no one person is the same. And so
Hmm.
that into consideration, that you are eating enough for your body as opposed to you eating for your kids or your husband. Yes, sometimes you can, like, when I had a partner at the time, I would eat the same plate as him because I was working out heavy, that I could sustain that, right? But I'm a tiny person, 5'2" here. Making sure that having that balance of, okay, I'm going to eat pretty good and healthy. I'm going to have my vegetables in every single meal. I'm going to make sure I'm eating enough protein because we need protein for our metabolism and to make sure that we are feeling full. And I'm also going to have my healthy fats and carbs. That's also important. We deplete carbs and just throughout our day because we need that energy to function, and we need to make sure that we have that. And so by having that well balanced meal, let's say 80% of your week, you are allowed to now, I hate using the word allowed, but you can eat in moderation whatever you want, pizza, the wine, the chocolate, the ice cream, 40% of the time, and your body is going to know exactly what to do because the 80% of the time it washes off and metabolizes everything that your body doesn't like, the ice cream and the pizza, and flushes out with the goods that your body really wants and needs, the nutrition, the nutritious foods. So that's the balance, and that looks about, I want to say, like four meals a week. And you can play around with that. It really depends on your goal, how soon you want to get there, and then the where you want to be at in terms of maintenance, and also the level of activity that you do. So it's really individualized, but it's totally doable. Um, Women, all shapes, sizes, we like it's definitely doable, definitely possible. And but it all comes down to that thought that keeps you trapped from the beginning. Let's say you've struggled, or anybody who's struggled in the past, to keep the weight off. Yes, you've released the weight, you've done it, you've done all the work, you've put in the work, you've eaten healthy, you got to your goal, but somehow you end up coming right back. And that is a limiting belief that you have in your mind that is on automation playing in the back end. You don't even know what it is until we like I coach you through it. um that thought is keeping what keeps most women trapped. And
Hmm.
that's the main gist in terms of getting you to that maintenance phase for your goal.
Yeah.
A lot of women will, there's programs out there that will help you lose weight, no problem. That's like the easy part, right? The tricky part is keeping the weight off. And that's where we really dive in a little further and go deep to make sure that that's not happening for you anymore. Because, right, you tell me the feeling that comes up for you when you have seen the number on the scale in the past, right? You said you were freaking out earlier, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
feelings would come up for you?
Well, it's sort of like an anxiety of, oh, I'm at this weight and it's good and it's unbelievable, but at the same time, you start feeling like, oh God, am I going to be able to keep it off? If I eat something, what am I going to do? And so what I found myself doing a lot is eating once a day. And I never could understand why I couldn't lose the weight. I'm like, I don't even eat. Well, that's the reason why I wasn't losing weight. I wasn't eating enough, and my body was storing the food. It was holding on to the food, and it
Mhm.
got so bad that I believe that it had something to do with it. But in 2018, my bowels erupted. And I think it was so, nothing was able to go anywhere because it wasn't anywhere, anything to go. And so it just kept backing up until it exploded. And at that point, I realized that, okay, you've got to do something different. And so I started eating more. And I love vegetables. And so I eat a lot of vegetables and I like fruit. And so once I started eating more, it was crazy because I'm like, the more I eat, the more weight I lost. The
Mhm.
less I eat, I feel horrible. And I feel like if I don't eat enough, I feel like I'm bloated. That's weird because when I eat enough, I'm not bloated and I'm able to go to the restroom and I'm able to feel good. But when I don't eat enough, it's like, okay, why do I feel like this? I get heartburn and it's just, and a lot of it is not having the right things that I'm eating either. And so I cut down on a lot of sugary drinks and I try to drink mostly water. Like right now, I'm drinking coffee. This is the only coffee I've had for the day, but I've been doing a lot of stuff today. And I wanted to have something to drink while we were doing this show. But I just know that what I'm not putting in my body is affecting me more than what I am putting in it. And so I have to eat more and worry less about what the number says because it doesn't matter what the number says.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I love that. I love that you say that because it's all about how you feel, right? And you now are it sounds like you, that's all about what you want to feel is good, right? You want to feel good.
Mhm.
You don't want to have the heartburn. You don't want to have to not be able to go to the restroom. That's like I used to experience that too, and that was not fun either. And that's a good point that you mentioned is you weren't eating enough, but once you started eating more, you were going and the weight was releasing, right? You were losing the
Yes.
weight, and it was like, what? Mind blowing, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, because your body needs enough energy to keep you going, and things are not going to work properly if we're not feeding it enough, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I'm glad that you pointed that out too, because that's a lot. A lot of most women do that too, and I did that too because, like you said in the beginning, we do the opposite once we start freaking out about that number.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of moms, like when you're busy or if you work or have different things going on, and a woman, period, we wear many different hats. We are so quick to make sure everybody else is okay and everybody else is fed, and I'll get something later, or and then maybe we even forget, and we're doing so much, but we're not fueling our bodies enough. And
Mhm.
so my doctor told me one time, he said, "You're an inflated tire. You're just driving around here on empty." And I said, "But I don't feel tired." He said, "It doesn't matter if you don't feel tired. You don't have the energy. These test results aren't lying about my blood was low." I mean, everything was off because I wasn't fueling my body enough. And it's just like a car. It might have a little bit of gas in it, but it's going to drive differently on what a fourth of a tank than it is going to drive on a full tank. And so, that's the same way with our bodies. We have to have a full tank in order to be able to run efficiently.
It's so true. It's so true. And we're not able to really show up 100% and really fuel our passion, like feed our passion as a mom, as a professional, as a coach. We're not able to live that fullest potential of what we came here to do, which is to serve, or whatever the purpose may be.
Hmm.
We cannot do that if we're pouring from an empty cup, if our car is on low, on almost empty, and so that's so important. We need enough energy, and we need to prioritize ourselves. We cannot put ourselves on the back burner. And yes, we, especially women, we want to put everybody else before us, and we're just maybe later.
Yeah, yeah, I'll get to it sometime. So when you work with someone one on one, do you work at one on one or group sessions? And if so, what is the first thing that you define when someone comes to work with you?
Great question. Right now, I'm doing one-on-one coaching. I will be opening the doors for group coaching in the next month. So, for anybody watching right now or catching the replay, um, I will give you my link to my all my socials so that you can share that, and they can find out about all of that there. For one-on-one coaching, right now with my clients, the first thing that we talk about is your intention. What is specifically your goal? What are you trying to achieve? And then seeing, specifically having a game plan in advance for that, what that maintenance looks like after our time is up. So typically, my one-on-one coaching is 4 months, and sometimes it expands depending on if anybody wants to move forward, but we do start off with what does the end look like, so that we can start from that place first, right? Without restricting, as I mentioned earlier, because that's going to be the key to move the needle. And then every single week we discuss, specifically, the program is laid out in a strategic way, according to how I have it set up. But every single week in our coaching sessions, it's really about the thought. It's really about what's happening that week that is preventing them from doing it. It doesn't necessarily need to be personally, physically. It can be from their job. It can be something is bothering them with their family. Whatever the case may be, that's holding them back from something that's gonna stem into a lot of other aspects of their life. So, for example, um, I had a recent client talk about she was having a hard time, um, communicating with her mother about, um, this project that she was working on. And that I asked her, is where else is she putting somebody else's, um, what if reaction, um, in front of her moving forward, right? And it turned out it was also affecting her job, and it was also, um, not it was also herself not showing up in the way that she wanted to, in terms of working out even. So she wasn't able to like feel confident at the gym because she wasn't feeling confident voicing her power, her voicing what was bothering her. Like it all stems because it's all brain based and it's all that one thought that I was mentioning. And it's like this explosion of ripple effects. Once that is unlocked, then we work through that and they get the tools to erase that thought and come up with the truth. What is the truth and how can we move forward from this so that you can excel in your physical goals, your career goals, family, relations, everything.
That's so powerful because my therapist just told me this. It's hilarious because when we had our last session, he goes, Tanika, you always feel obligated to something. And he says, why do you feel that way? And I'm like, well, I don't feel obligated. He said, yes, you do. He said, in this whole conversation, everything that you've said is like you're obligated to something or tied to something that you do not have to. And so what we're looking at now for me is why I feel obligated to certain things.
Mhm.
Why I feel, and what he told me was I don't allow myself to take my authoritative position in certain situations because of who it is I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And, I was like, wow, I never thought about that. But then I started thinking back, as growing up as a little girl, I was always told to respect authority. And anyone that is in authority over you, you're supposed to respect. And so even as an adult now, the adults that were adults when I was a child, I still have that same outlook on them. And I've served on boards with these people and been president on these boards with these people. But for some reason, I still feel like that little kid. And even though I'm in an authoritative position, I feel obligated that they're the authority because they're my superior in some type of way. And so what he is trying to help me to understand is how to remove that block and not to feel obligated because I was placed in that position and I've got to own it. And so you saying that just, it resonates because it's like, okay, it makes sense. It's all coming together, but how, in your mind, you might see it one way and, oh, I'm just being respectful or this is, but in another sense, it's like, it's not about that. It's about owning your authority in your space. And
Mhm.
so that's where I am and what I'm trying to deal with. So I'm glad you mentioned that because it's something that I very much am dealing with at this moment in my time in my life.
Yeah, yeah. And then as you can tell, like it affects other areas of your being of anywhere else, whether it is the way that you show up for your kids or in your relation or even for yourself, your relationship to yourself. So that's a great example that you brought up. It's so powerful once we find that thought because like you said, from childhood, and that's the key component. When we are young kids, we start getting programmed from what are listening to our parents, from TV, from just anything that happens to us. It could be traumatizing, it could not be traumatizing, it could be very very little, and it's just in there in our minds, just playing over and over and over automatically, and it keeps most people stuck. Well,
Yeah.
why one person could do the same exact program to become a multimillionaire, one person succeeds and another one doesn't, is because that one other person is having that thought automatically, keeping them trapped and playing small, where the other one doesn't have that thought and they did the same thing. It and that's the thing. That's the big difference, is the thought.
Absolutely. So, how many women are you working with right now, and how many more clients are you looking to take on for future?
So right now I'm working with 4 clients. I'm constantly onboarding newer clients. In the next month, I want to expand and do. I'm already working towards creating a group program, and I'm thinking to cap it at 30 women at once. So that is, I'm so excited about it because it's like, oh my God, this community of women all together, sharing this space where they have this goal and they really want to achieve that, and it goes further into their mind. It's not just about weight loss; it's about your life, right? Essentially. So that, to answer your question, I have 4 right now. I'm always constantly taking newer clients, um, one-on-one, and I'm do opening the doors for group coaching in the next month. So excited.
Okay. Also, help women understand of all ages that a lot of times I hear women that say that, well, I'm older now, or this, that, and the other. I believe in my heart of hearts, as long as you're still breathing, it's never too late to be in a good shape. I've seen women that are 70-year-olds that are like outrunning 25-year-olds, and I've seen 60-year-olds that look 90. And so what can we do to help those women to understand, on whatever age length they are, whatever health conditions they are, that they too can still be at a point where they can turn that around?
Yep. Yeah. To be honest, I hear this all the time, and my for a long time I battled this same topic with my grandmother because she wanted to lose weight, and she would say, I'm not young like you. You can lose the weight easy." And I'm like, the fact that you're saying that is keeping you trapped, because that's a limiting belief, or it's like she's trying to protect herself, so
Mm-hmm.
it's even harder for her. And so once we uncover that it is 100% possible 100% of the time, no matter what age she is, no matter what age any person is, as long as they're mobile and they know what to do and they have the guidance, it's totally possible. And like I said, like you said just now too, it's making sure that it is possible. It is possible as long as we set that mindset right and we get to that thought that won't keep them trapped anymore. Erasing that thought so that it doesn't trap them and keep them playing small so that they can achieve their goal and keep their goal, maintain that goal.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because you are a neuro coach. And I know that, like, I am a neuro linguistic practitioner, and I sometimes I don't even talk about that. I just talk about being a coach, because whenever I bring up the neuro part of it, people think that I am trying to analyze their brain, or I'm trying to hypnotize them, or something strange. And so can you explain what the neuro part of your coaching means, so other people can get an understanding and identify what that is in connection with you and what you do?
Of course, totally. So the neuro part of this whole health sphere of that I work around is, so neuro coaching is getting to that thought that is keeping you stuck, like I mentioned throughout our chat today, but specifically, um, uncovering how that thought is making you feel, and the belief that that thought is stemming from, so that you can get the end result that you want. And in some way, in some shape, in any way, shape, or form, any result that you want to achieve, if you are haven't had success in keeping that result, it's because there is that underlying belief, that limiting belief, that has been keeping you playing small from a brain-based perspective. Um, so that's what that is really uncovering the thought that's playing and keeping you small, so that you can move the needle to maintain that end result, and it works like magic for any result that you want. But for me specifically, we're working with my clients is for the purpose of achieving and maintaining their body goals and confidence and energy.
Absolutely. So now, with everything that you know now, if we were to look at a younger you, knowing what you know now, what would you have told yourself then, and maybe your teenage girlfriends or people that you hung around with? What would you have told them would it be something different than what you think now, or would you have did you know these things then and you're incorporating them now, or do you have something that you wish you could have been able to talk to yourself and your friends about back then before you found this out?
Um, whew, wow, that's a Wha- wow. Okay, so if I were to talk to the youngest version of me, I would really, I would tell her to relax. I would tell her to relax because I think for most of my youth, especially struggling, I was just like determined, but like on an extreme level because I wanted it so bad, and it kept me trapped because I didn't know what to actually do, and I didn't know that I was having that thought in my mind. So really is seeking help, getting guidance, not just for like nutritionally, because I didn't get the nutrition piece from the beginning at all, because my family, we didn't grow up with vegetables at all. We grew up with rice and beans. Like we there was never a vegetable on our plate. Like so I never really knew what to do. I didn't have the guidance. I didn't have the examples in front of me. I had to learn on my own. But to relax would be what I would say, because I would be very anxious to try to achieve this, not knowing specifically what was really deeper rooted. Um, so getting some guidance would be ideal in terms of that, especially if it's a yo-yoing thing. If you can master losing the weight on the first try and maintaining that, ooh, God bless you. That
Write a book, whoever you are.
Exactly. With no struggle, that's brilliant. But I'm speaking to those who have been bouncing back and forth and struggling. There's something deeper here that we need to uncover, and you, if you reach out to me, I can share with you the tools that I give my clients to get them there specifically. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what we'll also do, if it's okay with Elizabeth and she wants to do that, she can partner and be one of our network friends and have her information where it's linked up on my page too. So if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a nutritional coach, or if you're looking for someone that does juicing, or someone that has got healthy cooking styles, because we're going to put together a podcast for all of these different segments, and each last one of them are different. But if you want to find something on any of those levels, you'll be able to come over and click her link and get right to her and find that information. And before we leave, she's going to also give you her social media information, so that way you can reach her that way. But again, you can find it on our website. Elizabeth and I are actually in a group together, and that's how we met. And everybody that is in this group has something to bring to the table. They come from different backgrounds and different walks of life, and they all are excited about pouring into others. And so when I heard Elizabeth's testimony and how excited she was just about what she's doing and what she's able to help women do, I knew that it was other people that needed to be able to know who you are and hear from you, because I've talked to other coaches on weight loss and nutrition, but I think you're a lot different than some of the others that I've had on, which is a good thing, because everybody can learn from different ways and resources. And not only that, but you know, the way you bring the information and the energy is just so soothing. And I feel like people would be able to understand, and it's not pushy, and it's not something that you're trying to say, hey, you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. And you're like, hey, you can have no restrictions. It's no restrictions. And I think a lot of people like that. But I don't want you to get involved and look at it like, oh, well, I can do this and there's no restriction, because that's not what she's saying. You've got to be disciplined and you've got to have balance and you've got to be obedient. But what you need most of all, and I'm a firm believer, is an accountability coach. And although she calls herself a neuro coach, that's what she does. She is also an accountability coach and a partner that will be there with you to help you to sustain and to get to those goals and to that level. And so she's got a beautiful personality and very kind and lighthearted to talk to. And so I'm telling you, if you're in a place where you feel stuck and that you feel that maybe there's no hope and you don't know what to do to remove those things that have been ingrained in us since childhood, Ty, you're on here, and we go way back. She is my aunt, so I say we go way back, so we go a long way back. But anyways, she was brought up in a different background, and it was so funny because when she came into our family, we married her with so much stuff that she was overwhelmed, like, oh my God, what is going on? And I remember the first time that, and this is kind of off skill kilter, but I'll come back and I'll make it make sense. But I remember the first time that her son, my little cousin, got to go trick or treating. It was so exciting because this was the first time that she had ever experienced something like that. And so it was hilarious because he was acting crazy and didn't want to act right. So we sent him home and we went trick or treating. And so, at that point, to her, that was like, wow, I've never experienced anything like this before. And it's not bad, and it's not an evil thing, and it's not something that's going to make me turn a different way, but it's something that is showing me a different way. And I'm just using that scenario because a lot of times we've been brought up in backgrounds and traditions that you're forbidden to do. You better not do that, or you better not eat that. And if you eat this, it's going to do that. Or if you watch this, it's going to do that. But in everything, there's moderation. And when you learn for yourself how to do things in moderation, that it's not going to hurt you, it's not going to kill you, but it could actually help you identify the things that's been holding you back to make you move forward and be more balanced. And so that's why I brought that situation up, because I know it's not the same type of situation, but just we all come from different backgrounds and different walks of life, and we've all been taught something different. And you said you grew up on rice and beans, you didn't have any vegetables, but it didn't kill you. You're still fine, and I know that in some families, I was watching a show the other day, and the daughter was such a health nut, and her parents had raised her, but she's telling her parents, I'm not going to allow my kids to come over because you don't feed them this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, you're fine, but the thing is, you take from that and then you build on it. And it's not saying your parents were bad people. They might just had the information that they had, and that was the tradition. And not my parents were bad people. It's just the information, or whoever's parents. But as we evolve and we grow, we can learn better ways. And that's why we have a network of friends, so we can connect and use those resources to be able to have a more balanced, put together life.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Love that. Yes. Beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
so beautifully.
Well, Miss Elizabeth, I really enjoy hanging out with you. So let us know how to get a hold of you, how to book a session with you, and well, you've already talked about your group that you're going to have coming up. Is it going to be a membership group?
It'll be like a 4-month, 6-month. I'm playing around. Yeah, I think it'll be
Okay.
Group community program. Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, go ahead, let everybody know how to contact you, and that way you can be more resourceful for anyone that wants to reach out to you. And you don't have to go through me to get to her. You can get to her on your own, but there will be a link on the website so you can find her wherever she might be.
Yeah, my email is Elizabeth at I'm like trying to spell it out here. My email, you can reach me at my email, Elizabeth at elizabethadamas.com, or you can reach out to me at all the social medias at the Elizabeth Adamas. That's it. On
All right, cool.
Instagram.
And I said your last name wrong, so it's Adamas.
Adamas, yes.
Adamas. Okay. And that's pretty easy though. if you look at it, it's right on the screen. So if you can see that, and if not, like I said, we'll get that posted up for you, and it will be on the replay. It'll be on the Facebook, on YouTube, and on the website. So you'll be able to catch this. And coming up, hopefully by the spring, I'll have all the podcasts put together. I'm telling you, it's been so much going on, and this thing has just been taking off that I'm just like, yay. But at the same time, I've got to scale back a little bit so I can put everything together and get those podcasts out there, because I think when we have the sessions come out for the nutrition and for marriage and ministry and business minded people, all of these things are going to be able to help people on different levels. So be looking forward to that. It'll be coming soon. Thank you, Kimberly, for joining in. Thank you, Ty, for joining in. And my mom, she's cooking dinner for me tonight. So I'm excited about that. I don't have to cook. I got to go finish a paper for school. And other than that, um, check out Elizabeth. She is doing some really great things. Again, like I said, she's from New York City. And so she's from a place that is fast paced. So I'm sure she has seen a lot and done a lot as far as this whole nutrition thing goes. So she is right there in the heart of the country, knowing how things flow and work. So if you need some good advice, go check her out. And if you just need to be able to understand what it is that might be blocking your blessings, she is good at helping you to find out what's limiting you. And normally it's your beliefs. And so don't take my word for it. She's a specialist. Get with her, she'll hook you up. So thank you for joining us tonight. We've had a really good turnout. We had a lot of people come out tonight. Most of the time we don't have a lot of feedback or people interacting, but we've got a lot of hearts on here. So people must like what you had to say. And so they will reach out. And sometimes people just want to hear something to give them a little bit of a wow, it's not just me. I'm not the only one feeling like that. And so that's why we do different shows and have different people on, because there's so many different perspectives and we can all learn from someone out there. So thank you for joining us on the segment tonight. Elizabeth Adamas, get with her, get your nutrition in order, get your health in order, but maintain a healthy balance, which means it starts with your mind. All right. Have a good evening. Always remember, never forget, you were created with a purpose. God bless. Thank you. Elizabeth, don't leave yet.
Okay.